All right, and welcome to another special show here at Stay Tuned with Troy and Howie, and we have another special guest on board, and well, it's none other than Chad Gracey from the band Live. And hey, Chad, what's up?
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Hey, you know, it's going well. And by the way, I want to get as many words in edgewise because we have a giddy fan in the middle between us right now. And in fact, that poster in the background, I just want to let you know that's not something he as he leaves. But that poster in the background is not something that he just put there strategically for when you were on. He's always been a huge fan. He's a legitimate fan, and he was truly giddy when he said that you were going to be coming on board. So I just wanted to make sure I get a few words in edgewise, introduce myself, and before Troy takes over and runs this show.
Well,
see you later, Howie.
I appreciate support, especially from people like Troy. It's so cool to to interact with people that are so into our band and stuff. Because I'm like that with like U2 or something. I would be,
yeah.
Larry Mullins is here.
Well, it's kind of funny because we were. I was actually at work, and I was working in New York today, and I was saying, I'm going to be chatting with Chad Gracey. Have you heard of him? And they're like, Chad who? And I'm like, from the band Live. And I'm talking to like 23-year-olds. So so I'm like, all right, let me play some of the music. So I play some of the music on YouTube, and they're, oh, I recognize that song. Oh, I recognize that song. It's like, yeah, exactly.
That's how it is.
I
don't mind that. I kind of like the anonymity and like explaining to people and then going, yeah, here's the song, and they're like, oh, I know that. I guess it's good.
Well, I mean, you guys just first of all, Chad, I go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell a quick story. When we were first recording with Jerry Harrison, we were making Mental Jewelry, and he's telling us about his level of fame. He's like, no one recognizes me personally, like facially, but I can go and get the best seat at any restaurant. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool.
And nobody will bug him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, not a bad gig at all.
Yeah.
So you guys were obviously growing up in York, Pennsylvania, and and you guys pretty much met at a young age. In fact, I believe you formed your band in 8th grade called what, First Aid?
That's correct. Yes, that was the first name. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that leads me to a question real quick. Is that where the logo came from when you put the Live in the middle of the Red Cross?
No. So
okay,
we did the First Aid logo, and we did a talent show with that logo. And then during Throwing Copper, Ed found this Red Cross T-shirt, and he wore it, I think, on maybe Unplugged or something. And and then someone at the record company was like, "Oh, let's put the Live font in there," and that kind of became the Red Cross logo. So it wasn't.
Gotcha. Okay, I just thought that was. That's pretty cool, though. I kind of thought maybe it tied together there some way, but that's interesting. So, as First Aid, Ed was part of the band at that point, or not yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so that was when you guys became Public Affection.
Well, sort of. He came in. So that was 8th grade. We played our 8th grade talent show as First Aid, and then we did a performance on like the York local cable channel as First Aid. Mm-hmm. And then the summer of between 8th and 9th grade is when Ed came into the band. And probably it wasn't until 11th grade that we actually around 11th grade is when we adopted Public Affection.
Yeah, because I see there was a few other ones in there. Action Front, Paisley Blues, Club Fungus.
Yes. Yeah. Club Fungus, that was Patrick. Action Front. I forget where Action Front came from, but that actually became the name of our very first corporation, which is still in operation.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
That still actually owns the trademark to Live. Action Front does.
That's awesome. That's good.
I was in the hallway kissing this girl that I was into, and she said, "I hate Public Affection." I was like, "Oh, it's a band name. It's the 80s.
It is a good band name. It is. And I was chatting with you earlier today over text, and I said, hey, it's actually the 33rd anniversary
Yeah.
of Death of a Dictionary. How about that,
I
right?
did not know that. That's cool. Here we are.
So, how
You know
did you
what,
guys
Chad? I
all...
was just going to say, it's your 33rd anniversary, and I was in Pittsburgh last week at a few concerts. The Poison, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, and Motley Crue concert. And
Billy Joel the night before.
Oh yeah, and Billy Joel the night before.
Nice.
And let me tell you something. Those folks did not age that gracefully. And you've been in the business for 33 years, dude. You're looking pretty good.
Thank you.
I think you would. Yeah, I think you would hold up very well on stage. And man, I just watching, for example, Tommy Lee. He comes out front. I'm like, whoa! I'm not sure Pam Anderson would be going for him at this moment.
Well, to be fair, those guys are about at least 10 years older than us, and they have partied way harder than us. So I'm actually
true.
happy they're still doing it, and it's friggin' awesome. We toured with Def Leppard, and we talked about this earlier. We toured with Def Leppard in Australia. We opened for them when Chris was in the band. And
Okay.
and that was cool. I mean, to hang out with Joe Elliott, and I got to sit behind Rick Allen and watch him play drums, one arm with his pedals. And stuff.
I've seen them play twice.
I mean, seriously, how amazing is that?
Yeah, well, how do you look at that as a drummer, Chad?
I look at that as a miracle. Like if I lost an arm, I'd probably quit drumming. And this guy taught himself a whole new way of playing, and he has all the pedals on the left side he uses, and it's pretty amazing. It is an amazing feat of perseverance. So very cool.
Yeah,
and he plays barefoot like me.
And the bands. That was, hey, you know what? That was going to be my next question for you. Like, when you play barefoot like that, like, you get into some extreme temperature sometimes, whether you're indoors or outdoors or whatever. Like,
yes.
How do you adjust to that? You just kind of suck it up for whatever 40 minutes, or?
Yeah, the coldest we ever played outside was 32 degrees. We were actually on the first tour we did with Counting Crows in 2000. We went from Arizona. It was 95 on stage or whatever. And the next night we were in Denver, Colorado. It was 32 degrees when we went on stage. I was like, well, got to play barefoot, so.
So it's literally barefoot, no socks, no warm, no.
No.
Oh, wow.
I will sometimes practice with socks on, but for a show, I'm going. I don't know if it's like a superstition thing or a feel thing, but I'm like, I got to play the show with barefoot.
Ever any injuries because of it?
I get. It's funny. I just switched to DW in 2018 from Pearl, and their pedals are a little different. Their springs are on the inside of the struts. It's a little technical, but so that's okay. My right pinky toe will get a huge blister on it from rubbing on the string. So I got to tape that up. So yes, but nothing more than that. As far as
don't you have enough pull to have it customized yet?
They're not changing designs for me. So it's okay.
Oh wow.
So kind of taking a step back here again, we go back to First Aid. Now this is before Ed joined the band. Like, how did you guys were you guys all just friends? Was it just one of those things where you're kids and like, hey, let's start a band? Was it one of those, or how did it all happen?
I met Chad and Patrick kind of in 7th grade. We were all in the same classes together, and we were all in the band together. So I played saxophone all through school bands, and Chad played trumpet. Patrick played a plethora of instruments, bass and drums and all kinds of things. So we were all in the bands together, and we've told the story many times, but this music teacher named Don Karn, who is still teaching at York City Schools music. It's amazing.
Wow.
He had Patrick and Chad in lessons privately at his house, separately, obviously. And then in 8th grade, I bought a drum set from a neighbor, and it was at a yard sale. And I started playing, and I told Don, I started playing drums. And he's like, well, I got Chad and Patrick taking guitar and bass lessons from me. You guys should have a band. I was like, oh, okay. And so we did our first rehearsal ever at his house. And And then he was like, "You guys got to join you got to do the talent show." We're like, "Okay," so we practiced for that, and we won.
Was it just all was it all just instrumental at that point? You didn't have a singer though.
Yeah, we played. So here's the best medley ever. We played "Jam on It" and "U2's Like a Song" with no lyrics, and no singer, just instrumental. And Chad actually beat Tom Morello to the scratching thing on his guitar. That's how we played.
Really?
Chad was scratching on his guitar string.
Yeah, that.
Well,
who would have thought?
Yeah.
Tom Morello learned it from Chad Taylor.
I don't know if that's the case, but yeah. Morello might have been doing it in the
Starting
80s.
rumors.
I don't know.
Oh man, that's great.
So yeah, that's how it started. And Don Karn, we always give him credit. He put us together.
That's awesome, and he's still teaching. So who knows how many more bands he's trying to put together yet too. That's fantastic.
Well, I don't think he's put any together since, but that's okay.
How many years in a row is he taking credit for you folks being a band? Let's put it that way.
Well, he's very humble and down to earth too. So we've had him play with us a couple times. He plays violin; that's his main instrument. He also plays
neat.
Jazz bass. So Patrick was a big fan of his as far as jazz bass.
Okay.
And so we've had him play with us a couple times, and we've given him credit, but he's very humble about it. So he's a great guy.
He's got to be like your biggest supporter at this point, though, right? Like,
oh yeah, I think yeah.
I mean, other than your families, obviously, but
yeah, definitely.
So you guys form and Mental Jewelry. You guys work on that. Like, how long of a process was that compared to like when you guys were Public Affection? Like, was it pretty quick?
Well, we recorded Mental Jewelry while we were still called Public Affection. Like, we didn't change.
Okay.
We didn't change to live until about 2 weeks before the pressing of the record.
Oh.
Our manager at the time, so we got signed as Public Affection. This was, we got signed in 90. Let's see.
Was that Radioactive?
Yeah, Radioactive signed us in early 91, and we made the record in the summer and started putting stuff out by the end of 91. And so right before that, the pressing of the record, we changed the name to Live.
So then why the name change? What happened there?
Because our manager was like, there's no fucking way we're putting out a record with a band name Public Affection.
Really? He wasn't a fan of your idea, huh?
No, he didn't like that name. I mean, by that time, we were like, yeah, this name's kind of stupid anyway, so.
I don't think it is. I think it has a ring to it. It's very memorable, in my opinion. Where did Live come from?
Live was not a bad decision. I mean,
no, it wasn't. But how did that come about?
There was I guess Chad had a dream where he pulled it out of a hat. Or pulled it out of a hat or saw it on a hat. I forget, yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that the same way the Beatles had their name? That's what I heard anyway. Like John Lennon had a dream and said, "You will be the Beatles" with an E, or Beatles with an A. That's what it was. Yeah, he said, "You'll be the."
All these things come down out of the ether into people's heads, and it just that's how songwriting's done.
I guess.
When you
now you guys are mentioning the same breath as the Beatles.
Yeah, right. How many people, when you think about it, though, when you look at all these big songs, you always hear about these artists, oh, I spent 3 minutes writing this, and it's now one of the biggest hits of all time. Or, when you put too much thought into it, that's when you start kind of going away from what got you there in the first place, I would imagine.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, there's many ways to do it. But, yeah, I think probably the best songs are the quickest ones that come together the quickest. And like I said earlier, I believe songwriters tap into something in the universe and like something's downloaded into their heads, and the inspiration comes from somewhere, so it's pretty amazing what happens.
Yeah.
So when you guys hit it with Mental Jewelry, the first one that was actually released for radio play was "Pain Lies on the Riverside," if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, Operation Spirit.
Oh, that's right. It was out. You're right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So when that first plays, like, what kind of, like, what are you guys going through at that point? You're like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is, you're right there, and then you think, okay, this is as big as we're gonna get. This is awesome. Like,
well, we were getting a lot of college play on Operation Spirit, and we made a video for it for like $5,000. And MTV, when MTV was a thing, picked
Yeah,
it up,
right.
and it got played on 120 minutes, and that's what kind of launched us. And then radio was following MTV, and at the time that was like some radio stations like LA were like pissed off that they didn't break us first, and MTV did. And so LA, it's always been like a contentious relationship between us and the K-Rock in LA. I don't know if they.
Oh, really?
Around. Yeah, because of that whole situation, and so.
Oh my gosh!
But the interesting story about the video debuting on MTV was that we were in San Francisco. This is like probably November '91. We're in San Francisco and we're staying at the Phoenix Hotel. And guess who else is staying at the Phoenix Hotel? Nirvana.
Who's it? Oh, nice.
And so we see Chris and we see Dave and we see Kurt just hanging out, and our video was debuting that night. And so I think, I don't know if it was Chad or Ed, went over to Chris and Dave and said, hey, you guys, our video is debuting tonight on MTV. And we had to watch it in the fucking lobby because they didn't have cable in the rooms. And so Chris and Dave actually sat and watched our video debut with us.
Get the heck out.
It's a little known story. And then about 2005 or 6, we were in San Francisco playing, and we're like, let's go to the Phoenix and have a drink. So we go over there, and we're in the bar, and guess who walks in the bar? Chris Novoselic.
Get the heck out.
We're like, dude, what's up? We're like, what are the odds? And so
yeah, right.
That guy just lives there or what?
I don't know. No, he was just in town, and he was just like, I'm going to the Phoenix. And so the manager puts us in this back room, and we're hanging out there, and our tour manager at the time had toured with Led Zeppelin. And so Chris and Bill Thompson were talking about Led Zeppelin rarities, like B-sides and stuff. And then my ex-wife now, but my girlfriend at the time was talking to Chris Novoselic about chicken farming. He's a farmer. And I'm just like, this is fucking
Welcome
surreal.
to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, he's in Seattle, but
yeah, he was. Yeah.
So it was just a surreal moment. To say the least.
Man, that's so cool.
Wow.
That's so cool. And where were they at in their when you first came across them the first time in the Phoenix? There, where were they at in their career at that point? About
91.
Was that right around Nevermind?
Yeah, that's when Nevermind was fucking exploding. Yeah, 91.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Wow, that had to be pretty cool, right? Because
amazing. Yeah.
They're kind of your age and your generation, but at the same breath, they kind of hit it a little bit before you guys did. So you guys are kind of like, hey, that's where we want to get,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they kicked it off for all bands like us, Pearl Jam.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't really go much further here without mentioning, we did say this before when it happened, but rest in peace to Taylor, man. That was such a sad situation that I seen go down.
Yeah.
And what a talent that guy was, for sure.
He was amazing. Force to be reckoned with, and we got to play a couple festivals with them in 18 or 19. Got to watch Taylor, and actually, funny story. We're playing this festival in 18 in North Carolina, and we're driving from Nashville, and our tour manager made the decision to drive the day of show. We thought that was a mistake. And
yeah, right.
We're supposed to go on at, I don't know, like 4 o'clock or something, and we fucking pull up to the show, and we have time for 3 songs.
Oh my gosh!
And so we run on, and we play 3 songs, and thank God we got paid, and they held us for us. It was so nice. And Foo Fighters obviously were headlining. So I come off stage, and Taylor looks at me and he goes, "You fucker! You only had to play 3 songs. I had to play for 2 hours." I was like, "Hey." That's the last time I got to talk to him. So.
Oh wow!
That's a shame, man. I was so sad when I seen that going on. I don't know what's going to happen with that band, and I feel for Dave, man. Now this is the second time he's going through something like this.
Yeah, Taylor was his boy. I'm sure he was close to Kurt, but I know Taylor was like his soulmate guy. So
yeah, I mean those guys just hit it off.
A lot of people forget too, like, they're, the folks that are in these big name bands, you guys go through some tough times too, and you experience, the struggles just like anybody else would. And just because, your name's in lights, it doesn't mean that you guys are all perfect and everything's going to be just peachy and fine.
No, for sure.
So how do you handle the stresses of life when you're, going on tour and you're playing with the band to where you pretty much stay sane, you know, while doing it?
I just bury it all deep down inside, never bring it back up.
Well,
Hey, that makes sense.
I was going to say, let me tell you, Howie works in the mental health field. That was probably not the thing he wanted to hear.
No, that was a thing where I need to call somebody and have them knock at your door.
I've done therapy. This is some people think I'm crazy. I talk to myself all the fucking time. I have conversations with myself out loud all the time. My kids sometimes hear me, they're like, "Dad, what are you talking to?" I'm like, "Talk to myself." It's okay. So
hey, as long as it's positive self-talk, there's nothing wrong
exactly.
with it.
It is, you know, it is. It's like pep talks, and I go for runs, talk to myself. But I've done some therapy here and there. I mean, like during COVID, I had a divorce, and then the whole band thing, and shit was going down with Taylor. It was just like Chad Taylor.
Yeah.
It was just like I went through some crazy shit in the last 2 years. For as far as personal relationships go, I was like, fuck. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but it looks like you're doing well for yourself now. You seem to be in really good spirits, and I really like when you're doing these live things. Like that's, you know, kind of how I got in touch with you when, you know, you went on live there and you were playing some tunes and stuff. And I think you're going to do more of them from what I was understanding. So I'm looking forward to that.
My buddy Bill has a setup for his podcast, so he says I can use it anytime. So we'll just bring in the people. I have 4 drum videos I'm going to release on Instagram. I'm going to put that live stream on Instagram. We're going to edit out the Dave Taylor part, but I recorded 4. I recorded obviously Iris, Great Discussion, Selling the Drama, and Freaks with all those cool with all the cool camera angles. So it's really cool.
I love the beat that you play in Iris, dude. I love that beat.
Thank you. Yeah, someone asked me the other day how I came up with that, and we were just playing that song, and it just, you know, I think
just the way it kind of like it's such a cool beat to it. Like it just catches you. And you know, do you feel like sometimes as a drummer you don't get enough recognition, but in all reality, you guys are like the heartbeat of the band? Like,
oh, you mean generally as drummers? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people don't understand or are not aware of the driving force that the drums provide, because it's like it's almost subliminal to them, because they're most people are concentrated on
it blends in too well.
Yeah, most people are concentrated on the singer and singing along with them, so they don't even listen to the drums, which consciously.
But if you take away all those instruments, do most of those singers really sound as good without you folks in the background?
A lot of them do not. Ed can hold his own a cappella and playing acoustic and singing, but a lot of singers can't. They need they need us.
So what do you do on songs like Overcome?
Oh, that's rest time. So the first 2 minutes of Lightning Crashes. I'm like,
yeah, good point. Good point.
Yes.
So I'd like to continue my timeline here a second. So we come out of Metal Jewelry, and you guys are gaining momentum. Throwing Copper, you guys put this out here, and when you guys are recording this, do you guys know this is lightning in a bottle here? Are you feeling it?
We knew the songs were great. We felt really great about them, and they, you know, every song on Throwing Copper that we wrote gave us the chills, like while we were playing it. And so I felt very confident in the songs. I mean, we were hoping that it would do well. We didn't know it was going to do as well as it did. But we recorded Throwing Copper with Jerry Harrison, and we recorded Mental Jewelry in Milwaukee in a guy's home studio. And Jerry had lived in Milwaukee at the time, and we did all the rehearsal, like the rehearsal for the record in the sound studio in the middle of this neighborhood in Milwaukee. It was like this, all the walls are covered in carpet, and this like hippie dude was the manager. And we came back to do rehearsals there for Throwing Copper. And now the transition between Mental Jewelry and Throwing Copper is that we got a lot of amps and we're really distorted and a lot louder. And so the hippie
more to come yet too after that.
Yeah, and so the hippie dude, we go in there, we're playing, we're fucking super loud, and at one point the hippie dude's like, "Man, why'd you guys change your sound? You had a cool thing with with like the last record you made, and now you're all fucking loud and like I can't even listen to you guys. We're like, okay, sorry.
Interesting.
So he was, yeah, it was his opinion.
I think he's eating his words after that.
Sorry.
I think it worked out pretty well for you guys. Over 8 million albums sold, you know.
Yeah.
What was it? Billboard 200? It was hit number 1 on the Billboard 200?
Yeah, after a year.
Yeah, that was like the third, I think from what I was reading, the third longest gap from a release until it hit number 1, like something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I mean,
cool.
Was that kind of, you got, what was the first one released off that? Selling the Drama, I think, right?
Yes, yep. So we started.
Yeah, so it was Selling the Drama and it was I Alone, and then.
Yeah, the I Alone and then Lightning Crashes. We started in clubs.
And then when Lightning Crashes hit, that's when.
Then it blew up, yeah. But we started touring. We started touring in clubs on that record, and we ended up in amphitheaters.
Wow.
At some point in around end of '94, our booking agent was like, "Yeah, we're booking a amphitheater tour, headline tour in the summer of '95," and we're like, "What? Wow. How the fuck are we gonna do that?" He's like, "Well, just trust me." We're like, "Okay."
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, and that's what I was going to ask you. Like, as you're in the middle of that and everything's blowing up, like, are you kind of like able to take it in at all, or is it just like we're just going, and then all of a sudden, when the tour ends, you're like, holy shit, what just happened? Like,
we were locked inside that bubble, and we were on tour the whole time. We toured for like 18 or 20 months straight, something like that.
Wow,
with very little breaks, and so. We knew the songs were getting played a lot. We knew the crowds were getting bigger, but we weren't aware of how big it was. And I figured that out when I went home for Christmas that year. And I went to
got mobbed.
I went to this family party that we had been to, for 24 years. I'd gone to this family. I was like 24 at that time. For 24 years, I'd gone to the same family party, and that year, I got mobbed into a room with all these people that I didn't know, and they're like, "Whoa!" I was like, "What the fuck?"
Can I get your autograph?
Yeah, I was like, "Uh-oh, I think we're
it's about to get real."
Yeah, but by the end of that tour, we were so fucking tired. Like, we played our last show at the Philly Spectrum when that was a venue, and that was like the ultimate place to play around us, because we were like, people play the Spectrum like they're huge, right? And so we played it, sold it out. It was the last show of the tour. And we were all so fucking tired by that time. We were just like, whatever, going home.
Well, that was also when Woodstock was in there, right?
We played Woodstock in there, in that whole run, '94,
Jeez.
I mean, how did you guys get approached about that? I'm just curious, like, how did that all come together, and like, who ran that at that point?
What, Woodstock?
Yeah.
Well, Woodstock, they booked Saturday and Sunday with all the big names, and then they added Friday, and then they asked us to play Friday. So,
okay,
and we're like, okay, yeah, sounds fun.
Now that wasn't when everything went down. That was '99 when everything went down, right? Yeah, that was Oof. How was that experience though? That would have to be pretty cool, just hanging out with a bunch of bands and just getting to kind of know everybody and like.
Well, that was 90. What the first Woodstock? Yeah, we were 90.
Yeah, the first one.
94, so we were up and coming, and like, we saw some of our idols walking around. It's pretty cool.
Who would have been headlining those? Would have that been like the Soundgardens and stuff, or?
I forget.
I want to say Aerosmith for some reason.
Yeah, Aerosmith, I think, headlined one of the nights.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who the headliner was, even our night. I don't know.
Yeah. Huh.
Someone knows. Someone.
So as I look into background here, I see. I'm assuming that's a platinum record, all framed up, nice and
Samadhi,
pretty.
Yeah.
And there we're going. That's where we're going next. Secret Samadhi.
Exactly. So I'm looking at that framed record, and have you ever been nominated for a Grammy?
No, we have not.
No.
How did you guys miss? I was wondering, like, how did you guys miss out on that, man? Like,
don't know.
I mean, does that bug you, or do you care about that kind of stuff?
It would be cool, but it's a whole, like, there's a whole
very political, right?
There's a whole political movement behind it, and like your record company has to get you in there, and like, it's just it's ridiculous. It's not like a fan thing.
Yeah. So do you feel the same way about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
That's very political too, and again, it would be cool to have it, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over.
Now, at this point, you guys are eligible, though, right?
I think it's
25 years after your first album release, right?
25 or 30. I thought it was.
Yeah,
maybe it's 25. Yeah. So
Mental Jewelry would have been what, 91?
Mm-hmm. And the 91.
So yeah. So we're coming here. We're coming up on 30 years here. So yeah. Well, we're over 30 years. Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll get the call.
Well, I don't see why you guys wouldn't. Honestly, I mean, I might be a little biased. I mean, you guys have pulled me through a lot of tough times in high school and such. So I
appreciate.
I mean. That. Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys, you know what I mean? But as we move on to Secret Samadhi, now this stuff got heavy. Now this, like, where were you guys in? And were you just trying to make a totally different sound, or what went behind that? And if I'm not mistaken, you guys went out of the country to record that one, correct?
No, we recorded it in, well, we wrote it, most of it in Jamaica.
Okay.
We rented a house in Jamaica and went down there, partially for vacation. Secret Samadhi was like, it's my favorite record of ours because I love the darkness. Thank you.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a rebellion against ourselves in a way because we were just and our management and like the whole industry because we were just fucking tired still even then when we were making that record.
Yeah.
Like, God damn, what the fuck happened to us?
Were you guys under contract to put another one out? Is that what happened, or?
Well, yeah, we were on contract, but there was no pressure. It was just like,
okay,
it's just I don't know. And Ed started getting into the whole like. Buddhism thing and like and so that's Keeney's Juice, Secret Samadhi, like the whole that whole situation. So we started making the record. We wrote the record mostly in Jamaica. We started making it in San Francisco. We rented this studio there and we got apartments and stuff, and then the studio had this buzz in it that we couldn't get rid of. So we ended up making it mostly in LA.
Yeah, I mean, if I tell anybody to listen to a record of yours,
actually, we made it in New York City. We recorded in New York
you did?
City. Yeah.
Okay. It's like I always go to Secret Samadhi. I always go to Throwing Copper, of course. I mean, that one's got the most airwaves and radio play of everything. But with Secret Samadhi, there was just something, and like you even just said, it was like a big FU. Like that's what it felt like when you guys were even, just listening to the album. It was like, like just wanted to get some anger out or something. It was a different side of you guys that I'd never seen. And then you go into The Distance to Here, and I was like, wait a minute, is this the same band?
So The Distance to Here, we recorded. There's probably like 4 or 5 songs on that record that were definitely more rock, and then the final arrangement came down, and Ed had selected other songs, so he was kind of in charge of it at that point. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
This is the record.
Do you get a chance to jump in and help on the lyrics at all? Or is that strictly all Ed?
That's all Ed.
Okay. So, do you feel like you have any more input on any particular song than you? On any, I mean, you feel like all the input you put on a song is the same. Like you don't feel like you have any more. I'm trying to think of how I'm trying to word this. Do you feel like you have any more credit towards one song in particular?
No. I mean,
no.
And those are like the first 4 records. We would get in a room and kind of jam, and we would suggest arrangement stuff. But I had nothing to do with melody or lyrics. That was all Ed. So Did you guys always kind of have the same method when you would write? Like, was it the lyrics first, or the melodies first, or the beat first, or no? There was no method. It was
it's just whatever kind of rolled.
Someone has it usually was a guitar idea, or Ed would come in with sometimes a whole song or a bass. Sometimes Patrick, like TBD, or what's another one? TBD was like just a bass thing that Patrick had. He just playing that.
Pillar Davidson.
Yeah, Pillar of Davidson was also a bass idea that Patrick had,
Yeah, that's what I thought, because that one starts off with that low bass at the beginning, too. So we move on, and you've released some other albums. When you did 5, is that the one that Overcomes on, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys released, if I'm not mistaken, you guys released that right before 9/11.
The week before, yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden 9/11 happens, and you start seeing this song played in the background of some of the tributes and such.
Yes.
Like who kind of came to you guys on that? And it had to be a huge honor to be, you know, knowing your songs being used to honor these people that gave up their lives and such. You know?
It was absolutely an honor. No one came to us. Somebody made a video and put that song to it, and it just started getting played.
Okay. Really?
Mostly on VH1, yeah. And
so I mean, at that point, you guys aren't like, you're like, I don't care who's using it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's, this is for our country. This is bigger than us.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
like,
at that point, when we went to the record company, it was like, okay, this thing's getting played everywhere. Let's officially put it out, and we'll send the profits to a charity for 9/11, whatever. And the record company wouldn't do it. We're like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
I wonder why.
I don't know. We were supposed to have, that record was jacked up. So we had a song called Deep Enough. No, not Deep Enough. Yeah, Deep Enough. That was, we were approached by...
That's from Fast and the Furious, right?
We were approached by the director of Fast and Furious for that song.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a full video for it, like put it in the movie and everything. And the record company refused to do it.
Wow.
And 9/11 happened, and Overcome was getting played everywhere. We're like, let's put it out. Let's get behind it. Let's, for the support of everybody. And like we wanted to send the profits to charities. They wouldn't do it.
What was the explanation behind that?
There was none. They just,
really? They just said, this is our way, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So there, between the 4 records and 5, there was a regime change at the record company. And so we just kind of got brushed to the side. This is what happens. You know?
Yeah. Again, the business. There's more to the business than just playing music and going on tour.
Oh, big time. So they wanted to put out Simple Creed. That's what they got behind. We're like, well, okay, that's... And at that point, you have to go, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, then we'll play along. And if it fails, it's your fucking fault.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So, yeah. That's a good tune, too. I mean, I like that tune a lot, but I think at that time, like, there was a lot of momentum behind, Overcome. And not to mention, like, I mean, I don't know if they knew how big Fast and the Furious was going to get, but how much would he be like to be hearing that song be played in Fast and Furious as many times as it's been aired now?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I was going to say, you can just sit back on your couch and collect the checks.
Yeah. Well, the director wanted to shoot the video.
Wow.
I forget what his name is. The guy who directed the first, I guess, I don't know if he's directed all of them, but at least...
I'm not sure either, but... I mean, that's a shame. That feels like a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm pissed off for you, Chad.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
There's sun on my face here.
So, that's okay. So we move into a rough patch for you guys here. I don't know all went down. I know there were some lawsuits that were flying around. Ed leaves the band. There's some hard feelings between you guys. Some words are said. But you guys move on. And I guess in the meantime there was also a time when you guys split off with 2 guys from Candlebox, Kevin Martin and Sean Hennessy, and put out an album called, the band was called The Gracious Few.
Yeah.
Good tunes on that album too, by the way. Is that kind of all shared songwriting credits with that as well? Or
that was shared. Yeah, that was shared. We actually all were working on everything in that band. As far as the Ed thing, like, so I've since learned a key piece of information that I didn't know back when Ed when we went on hiatus and Ed left the band, and that Ed had told Chad Taylor that he only wanted 2 years to go do a solo thing. Now that was never conveyed to me or Patrick. And that's a key piece of information because I would have been like, oh, 2 years, fuck yeah, let's go. That's, no problem.
Yeah.
Right.
It just got turned into this big, like, well, fuck him, and like he's doing this.
Yep.
And yeah, unfortunately it just evolved into bullshit. And
pieces of information were left out that would have made things go a lot better.
Yeah. And so I publicly apologized to Ed, and I personally apologized to Ed for the bullshit. It's just, there's just seems to be, in our band, there seems to be one source of drama, and I'll just leave it at that.
And now there is no longer. So that brings us to now. And I seen that you guys just did, well, I don't know, how did that work with the whole remake of the Lightning Crashes thing? What was that all about?
So that is in a way what kind of precipitated into what's happened with the band.
Oh,
that.
Okay.
So I got called from the manager, Chris Harden, saying, "Hey, this artist wants to do an EDM version of Lightning Crashes." I'm like, "Fuck, great! About time someone wants to do something with it. Like, it's a classic, and someone should remake it." And I was like, "It'll appeal to a younger generation, new fans, whatever." And so I'm like totally cool with it. And Ed decided that that DJ guy contacted our management, and Ed was like, "I'll just re-sing it." It becomes a re-record at that point. And he replicated the vocals flawlessly, obviously. And that way, Universal has no control over it. Because if it's a re-record, then we own it, and the DJ guy owns it. I forget.
Very similar to what Taylor Swift just did a little bit ago.
Yeah. And so we did that, and apparently there was some dust-up between Chad and Ed about that. And that's what led Ed to contacting me and going, "Hey, let's do this." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do this."
We're gonna cut ties, huh?
Yeah.
So that's where we are. So we'll come back to this, but I know that you're willing to talk about the turn, so I'd love to hear your version of it. Again, another great album that's now forgotten. Like, how do you feel about that?
I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, we pulled it down because we didn't want to rock the boat with Ed or have any bleed over from that with Ed. And it's we wanted to go out and play songs as live, and we were still not at that point with Ed, so we brought in Chris. And Chris is an amazing guy, and he's an amazing musician. And we knew it was temporary. I mean, we all knew Ed was going to come back at some point. I mean,
and I think even in the interview that I heard from him, that he even kind of was under the impression that it was probably going to be temporary.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we all thought. Yeah. And so we made that record, and we put our heart and soul into it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was in the car the other day, and one of those songs came on. I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot. That's cool." Like, I really liked my drumming on it and the arrangements and melodies and stuff. So it was great. It's a good record.
It really is, and that's kind of, you know what I mean. Like, that's, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this because maybe you guys will pull it down, but there is an album floating around on YouTube that you can still hear of it.
Oh, cool. That's fine. I don't care.
So,
great.
So I mean, that's the only way I got to hear it, because I had never heard it before that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wish there was a way that there could be some sort of way to release that without anybody getting hurt feelings over it, and have it out there for public consumption, because I think there's a lot of good tracks on there that people would enjoy, you know?
Is that something that you would be able to play, like, on stage during a concert?
No, I would never ask Ed to play those songs.
Okay.
It's too much. It's too much hurt between, us replacing him and that whole, bullshit that we did. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So you guys started out in York City High School, or I should say middle school for the better part, and then you're where you are now, which is Los Angeles, correct?
Oh, Orange County, yeah.
Or Orange County, okay. So what made you want to move out west and not stay on the East Coast?
Well, I moved to Portland, Oregon first in '95 for a girl.
Okay, yeah, it usually is.
And then I moved to Orange County for a girl. So I'm not moving anywhere for girls anymore. I'm staying here.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say, can you learn your lesson anytime soon, Chad?
I learned my lesson. Yes, I have learned it. Took 2 times, but I'm good now.
All right, good to know.
That's how I ended up.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Do you have any desire to come out back east and resettle, or is this just one of those places you enjoy visiting and not really wanting to live anymore?
I love coming home, but I like coming back to Orange County, especially now that I'm single. It's a much more target-rich environment here.
I would say so.
I would think so. Yeah. In every way, right?
Yes, but I have my kids here, and they go to school here, and my ex.
Okay.
She's born and raised here, so she won't leave. So
yeah,
I'm kind of stuck here, which is fine.
But
yeah.
Do you guys still have the studio though out in New York, or you do? Okay. So I didn't know what was going to happen there. Is that? I guess that leads me to my next question. Now, you guys obviously got Chad Taylor. He's fired from the band. It's, hard feelings there. Unfortunately, it's sad to see it happen. But with that in mind, you guys are moving on.
Absolutely.
I kind of, saw some questions being asked to you through your live post you had on the other day. You guys hoping to tour. Is there a guitarist in mind? Is there going to be auditions? What are you guys hoping to do there?
There's a guitarist in mind that has played with us, Zach. So
okay,
I'm pretty sure he's taking over the position. I don't know that completely 100%, but
right.
At least my initial conversation with that is that Zach's going to step in. So, and
okay, is there new material on the way too? Then
we have not worked on any new material yet.
Okay,
but there will be shows by the end of the year. We're working
awesome,
on that right
really.
now. Yeah.
Anything coming out this way? We're right near Hershey, obviously. So.
Oh right.
Are you guys hoping to come?
I don't know yet. I mean,
okay.
We're
still working out all those details.
He's working on it right now. So.
Yeah.
So how did that work? When Chad was fired and Ed put out the Instagram post saying that he owned 55% of the band live now or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that you guys are all cool with that? Like he obviously is majority owner or whatever at this point.
Well,
like
what he meant by that at that time was that when we came back together, he was given 40% by Chad unilaterally, and that's fine. I mean, Ed deserves every penny. Chad took 30% for himself and then gave Patrick and I each 15% out. As before, we had always been 25 on touring, 25, 25, 25, 25.
Right.
And Patrick and I were leveraged into that position through a global talk about a bunch of other companies that we owned. And it was the one thing that in 2016 is when my rift started with Chad because of that. And that was a turning point for me.
I mean, so you guys did, obviously that's kind of when, that's when Ed jumped back in though, right?
Yeah, that's when Ed rejoined. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
When Ed made that announcement, he was referring to the fact that I was going to vote with him. And so he controlled 55%. And,
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. All right. So, I mean, Patrick's been pretty quiet about this whole thing. Like how's he feeling about this?
Well, it took a little talking to, but he decided he wants to do the band, and so he got into the mix as well. So he's in it.
Okay. Well, Chad, we don't want to hold you forever. And I mean, maybe Troy does. He
I do.
Wants to hold you hostage for a while. But I wanted to just ask one more quick thing, just kind of a fun thing. When you finally made it big as the band live, what was that? What was the first fun thing that you bought yourself?
I bought myself a BMW M3.
Oh, sweet. Okay. You still have it by any chance?
No, I don't have it anymore. British Racing Green with tan leather seats.
Oh,
and
nice.
what I learned about that was I'm never getting tan leather seats again because everything's changed.
Yep, I don't blame
you. Get a little dirty on you.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the guy I know, the guy who still owns it is actually my ex-brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Still owns that car, yeah. So.
Okay, that's amazing.
Very nice.
He's
very nice.
Oh man, there was more things I wanted to get in with you, but we're going to let you go.
I have a little more time if you want to ask.
Do you? Okay. Well, here's one more thing I want to jump into. You guys played on SNL, and
twice,
if I'm not mistaken, is that when you did? Well, the one time I'm thinking of in particular, you guys did the Johnny Cash cover, "Walk the Line."
On is
that not right?
No, we played SNL 94. No, 94 or 95.
Well, then what am I thinking of?
We didn't play.
Okay,
Yeah, we didn't play that on SNL.
I might have had my thoughts mixed down on the paper here wrong. I'm sorry about that. So, 95 and 97. So that would have been what the 95 would have been Throwing Copper. 97 would have been Secret Samadhi.
Correct.
Okay,
who was the host of Saturday Night Live?
Who did you guys get to meet on there?
It was Chevy Chase was one of them. I think he was 97.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And then, what's the actor's name? He was on that show Kramer.
Michael Richards.
No.
No, you're thinking Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of Seinfeld. You're right. His name, yeah.
Am I right? It was with God, I can't remember the name of that.
The name of the show was Kramer.
I believe it was like he was Kelsey Grammer was the.
Oh yeah.
What was that? I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what show you're talking about.
Something radio.
No, that's a different show, but he was on that show too.
Yeah.
It was a one.
He lived in Seattle in his apartment with his dad and Kelsey Grammer, and the guy that played his brother, I think, was the actor.
Yep.
And I can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry, but
I know who you mean now too.
David Hyde Pierce. That was it.
Okay. David Hyde. Okay. Yeah. That was. I can't remember what the name of that show was.
That was a fun era of SNL. That was the.
That was the
Adam Sandler era.
Sandler's.
Yeah.
Sandler was still on, and so was
Spade.
Spade was on. Farley was there. So if you look at the credits of '95, at the very end, I think it was Patrick, Chad, and I surrounded Farley and started hugging him and jumping up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
We couldn't tell if he was happy about that or not, but we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm thinking there was something else on his mind during those moments.
He's like,
Speaking of jumping up and down and dancing and stuff, how did it feel to get mocked by Beavis and Butthead?
That was
when
amazing. I still love watching that. It's fucking cool as hell.
They're like, why is that guy just dancing around?
So cool. The I Alone video was interesting because I had drums on that set, and so that video was recorded double time to get that slow motion effect. So the song was playing double time, right? And so we did a couple passes with me on the drums, and the director was like, I don't like the drums on the set. And I was like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Right.
Like, well, just kind of dance around. I'm like, okay. Okay, sure. That sounds fun. And my drums were my security blanket, so that was a big for me.
Yeah, that was something else. I remember watching that, and I think I even seen it back in the day because I was a Beavis and Butthead watcher, and I saw that, and I'm like, this is so crazy. Yeah. And I mean, it's probably not the way you wanted to get recognized, but being on Beavis and Butthead was a pretty big thing for you too.
Can't go wrong.
Well, listen, I had to do that. It looked ridiculous. I felt ridiculous, and then Beavis and Butthead pointed out. I was like, that's fucking sweet. That was like awesome.
That's great. So one more thing. This is where I wanted to go with this. With the Walk the Line cover, how did that all come about? And who was kind of Ed the one behind that? Was he the one that wanted to do that?
I think it was Ed and Chad.
We were
asked, I forget who made that Johnny Cash Greatest Hits, cover thing. I kind of forget where that came from exactly, but we were asked to do it, and I think it was.
That was after he had passed, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I think he passed in like 2003, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that was probably like 5 or 6 when you guys did that
5
one?
or 6, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So that had to be. You guys put a great twist on that, and then Daughtry goes on American Idol and plays it, and all of a sudden these rumors start flying around like, he did this original version of "I Walk the Line" or whatever, and then all of a sudden, they
said something.
And he gave you guys credit. He did. Well,
so we played that, and then I think I didn't watch the show, but what I heard is that he played it and didn't. They were talking to him about like great version, and he didn't say it was.
He didn't say it right away, right?
But then I guess on the next show, he like, that was Live's version, and then he had to apologize to us. He had us on the show to play with him, which was cool. But Chris would show up like. Daughtry would show up backstage in, I think, North Carolina, where he lived. And he was backstage a couple of times, like 95, 97, 99. Just this kid hanging out. And then
he was a big fan of you guys.
He was a huge fan, yeah. I guess he still is, but yeah, he was a huge fan. Yeah,
and then I saw that he actually asked Pat to fill in for him on tour now, too. Like, was that a couple shows?
Patrick saw that the bass player I don't know how he got wind of it, but the bass player had to go do personal stuff. Something personal, and Patrick actually contacted Chris and was like, "Yeah, I'll play."
Like, oh, really?
Sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, do you guys still feel like you can do side projects, or how does that all work now? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know, because when that hiatus happened with Ed, like, that obviously caused something there. So we kind of just like, no, let's just kind of be upfront about it, you know, and then we won't get into the situation. Yeah.
Well, now I think we'll all personally communicate now. If Ed wants to do a side project, he'll tell me, and I'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, go.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to go back to Gracious Few. Like, we had fun making that record with Kevin and Sean Hennessy.
Do you still stay in touch with him?
Yeah, when I see him, yeah. I mean,
okay.
But it was a fun record to make. We did that with Jerry as well. It was cool.
Yeah.
So just curious, and I'm asking this because I've been to venues in Philly, I've been to venues in Hershey, PA, and just recently in Pittsburgh, and there is a definite difference in the sound quality of these concerts at these different venues, in my opinion, for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, is there a favorite venue of yours that you prefer to play at just because of that?
Wow. I'm trying to think.
I mean, I know you guys, I mean, even like locally, I'm sure you played at Hershey, you played at the York Fair several times. I mean, some folks just have better equipment, I guess you can say.
Oh, yeah. Some venues have better equipment, and then it all comes down to the sound guy, too. So,
yeah.
A lot of sound guys are deaf from doing it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Like the venue, like playing the York Fair is crazy because of the slapback from the, like you play and the sound slaps.
Oh, yeah, because you're literally like playing right into the crowd. Yeah, right into the,
But
that's a good point.
The first time we played at the York Fair, we played a Battle of the Bands.
Oh, nice.
89. And, and so Patrick's older brother turned us on to like all the new wave stuff and U2 and REM and INXS and all that stuff. And so that's what we listened to. We didn't want to have anything to do with hair metal. Okay, this is like
okay.
We thought it was stupid. Okay, and nothing against any of those.
Can't argue that.
Right, just where you were in your life, right? Yeah.
And so we did this Battle of the Bands. I think was it 80, 89 or 90, somewhere in there. And this band called Hide Your Daughters was the band that we were up against. So we played like all of our original stuff, and we were dressing like our new wave stuff, and it was all like hair metal dudes in the fucking audience. And they're like, get off the stage! Like, what the fuck is this? They're yelling at us, and then Hide Your Daughters beat us for the Battle of the Bands. So.
Oh, really? Of course they did. Oh, yeah. Of course they did. Oh man, where are they at now?
I don't know.
They're still sitting in their parents' basement. Maybe. That's where they're at right now.
Maybe.
Oh man. So So I mean, I guess locally, where would you say? Would you say Philly was kind of your favorite at that point? Like when you guys were able to close the Sterling Copper tour off? Yeah, the Spectrum.
Yeah, we had a special affinity for the Chameleon Club in Lancaster, the original.
Oh, I'm so sad to see that close down. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because Rich Ruhoff, who ran that place forever, and then sold it to the new people, but he was a champion of our band early on. And that was like the only place around that was a proper venue that we could play that was close by York. York had no proper venues. And so we played a bunch there. Actually, we got to open for the Pixies in '89. And at the
did you?
That was freaking awesome, yeah.
Oh, I bet.
And then like 3 or 4 years
that was such an intimate setting there.
Like 94, 94, 95, we were touring in England, and Frank Black opened for us. So we got some
get out of here.
Hang out with Frank. That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was so sad to see that place shut down. And now there's another place down in Lancaster now, the Tellus 360. I guess there's a little club in there stuff, but
I've heard of that.
It's not. It's it's not the same as what the Chameleon Club. But there's just something about that sticky floor in the Chameleon Club that, you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. I walked all over that place in bare feet, so yeah, I know.
One time I was working. I dabbled in radio a little bit, and I was doing promotions, helping set up promotions and stuff for the X up here. And I don't remember, there was a show down there. They used to call it the XLX, and I can't remember, but one of you guys popped in for it that time. And something tells me it was either Pat or the other Chad.
Probably, they lived in the area.
Yeah. And it was really cool. Like you guys just came in to, whoever it was to support the local musicians and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? Like I always thought you guys were just so down to earth, and getting to talk to you now, I see that you are, and really appreciate your time.
You're very welcome.
Chad Gracey, if there's anything you want to plug, go for it.
Yeah, look for live on tour.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'm at the Chad Gracey on Instagram, and my Facebook is mostly private. I put the live stream on there because we couldn't figure out how to get it onto on Instagram at that point. So
yeah,
I'm getting a recording of it, so I'm going to put that up soon. So yeah, mostly
awesome.
it's at the Chad Gracey on Instagram is my main focus.
Yeah,
For us fans.
and there's all kinds of live websites out there. Freaksforlive.com. You guys still running that website or?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And then, obviously you can search, them up on all their social medias too. Just look for live.
We're at Freaks for Live on Instagram and Facebook and yeah.
Yeah. So many out there. Look them up. Great albums. Like I said, you guys got me through so much in my growing up and stuff. So I appreciate everything you guys did and all the music you guys put out. Huge fan, always will be. So I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. Again, Chad Gracey from the multi-platinum selling albums of Live. Really appreciate your time. Howie, anything else you want to close us out with?
I was just going to say, hey, it was great meeting you, Chad, and it was really great getting to know you, and it was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and thanks for the questions. They were great, and it was fun to do.